Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about how to change my ex's mind. So the first thing that I want to discuss with you before I can get into the methods of how you may be able to actually change your ex's mind about their decision about breaking up with you or changing their mind about you in general, right, to help maybe coerce them to come back into your life if that's something that you really want. There's one thing that obviously I need to address first, and that is you shouldn't be so, I guess you could say, wound up with trying to figure out how to change your ex's mind, because ultimately there's not really a lot you can do, because at the end of the day, if it was their idea to go, if it was their idea to leave, then it has to be their idea to come back, right? So they have to come to that conclusion within themselves. They have to change their own mind, okay? And it may be the case that they will never change their mind about you, and that may be the reality here. Okay, so you kind of need to let go of trying to puppeteer what's going on in their brain, trying to manipulate what they're feeling or anything like that to help them come back. It's the best thing to do is to really just let go of the outcome, let go of what they're trying to do or how they're thinking, how they're feeling, because there's not really a lot you can do to change those things. If they're hell-bent on not ever being with you, there's not really too much you can do, okay? Now, if they still have feelings for you, then there's some things that you definitely can do. But if they have really made up their decision to leave, then there's not really a lot you can do. And I wouldn't suggest that you try to do something. Like, don't try and message them or try to convince them, write them a letter or anything like that. If they have decided to leave, it's always best to just let them go and let them be. If they're gonna change their mind, they will, right? And it doesn't need any effort on your part to do that. They have to come to that conclusion on their own, within themselves, okay? So that's the first thing that I really needed to get across, okay? So what are some things that can help then? Now, these are the things that you need to do in the initial stages of a breakup. So if it's already been like 6 months to a year, right, and your ex has been gone for ages, then the only thing that really you can do is just keep on applying the no contact rule, and maybe they'll come back. But again, for people that a lot of time has gone by, what I would say to you is that it's really time to start moving on, okay? Because if it's been a long time, you really shouldn't be dwelling and keeping your life stuck, waiting for them to come back. You should be really now aiming to try and find someone better, filling in your knowledge gaps about dating and relationships so this kind of breakup thing never happens again. Right, things like that. I've recommended books in my description of all my videos, which are the recommended books I have on personal development and dating and relationships. You can just look at the dating and relationship ones. You don't have to get them through those links, because I will get a small commission if you go through those links and you purchase anything through those links. But what you could ideally do is you could just look at the page, write down the titles, and then check them out at your local library, or get cheap versions of them on eBay if you don't have to pay the full price on Amazon or anything like that. Okay, so it's really important then, yeah, that you start to move on if it's been a very, very long time, because you don't want to keep yourself stuck like this. You don't want to keep on wasting your life, wasting your time on someone who may or may not come back. Okay, so if it's someone who, maybe you broke up just a few weeks ago or something like that, and it hasn't been that long, it's been maybe maximum maybe 2 months, then there's still some things that you can probably do, although it's very minimal, right? The action steps are very minimal. And some of these things are things that you might have already done or are already doing, okay? So the first thing, right, is you may need to apologize if necessary. So if you haven't already done so already as well. So are there some things that you did that made the breakup happen? Or maybe it was your behavior after the breakup. Perhaps you got really angry, or you chased them down too much. You was begging, you was pleading, whatever it is. Maybe you need to apologize for some bad action on your part, whether in the relationship that caused the breakup or after it. Maybe, like I said, it could have been a bad attitude after the breakup happened. Maybe some things were said that were quite mean, right? Who knows, right? When breakups happen, it can be very fiery. So I'm not judging you if you did say something mean to your ex, because, breakups are pretty harsh, right? Everyone's hurt, everyone's feeling bad, right? It can be very easy to say things you don't mean in those times. So if you haven't apologized to your ex and you haven't owned up to any mistakes that you've made, I suggest that you do so, right? You can just send them a quick text or something like that. But what is important to say is like, okay, you say something along the lines of, hey, just letting you know that I'm really sorry about whatever, right? And then after that, after you've written down the things that you're sorry for, you say, there's no need to reply to this message. I just wanted to say sorry for the way that I behaved. I hope you are well, and I hope you continue to do well, and I wish you the best for the future. Like that, okay? Just something like that. But also make it clear that they don't have to respond to you, okay? And that will show maturity. And it also show that you really do mean what you mean. You mean what you say. You mean the apology, okay? So after that happens, you go into no contact. Now, it may be the case that after you apologize, your ex reaches out to you and says, hey, thank you for apologizing. And maybe that's it. If they only say something like, oh, thank you for apologizing, then no need to reply anymore to that. Don't reply again. Right? If they say, thank you for apologizing, don't respond. If they say, oh, thank you for the apology, how are you doing? And they ask you a question, then you can respond to it. But do not respond to anything that's just like, okay, thanks for saying that, right? Because what they're doing is they're just accepting the apology. They might just even say something like, apology accepted. Okay, but you don't need to say anything else after that. Do not message them after that. If they're not specifically asking you a question like, hey, how are you? What have you been up to? Or another kind of question, there's no need to respond anymore, okay? Go straight directly into no contact. Okay, so that's the next thing you need to do, which is go into no contact, which essentially means no contact is code for you leave them alone, right? That means you don't message them anymore, right? You're no longer looking at their stories, you're no liking any posts on social media, you're no longer phoning them up, you're no longer talking to them, okay? Now, I know that there are a few people out there that can't do that because let's say you've got kids together. So if you've got kids together, then basically you need to make sure that all of your conversations are just about the kids. Okay, and you're keeping it very business-like. You're not talking to them in an emotional manner, but in a kind of like a business-like manner. Okay, no emotion. Right, and you only talk to them if absolutely necessary. You're not chit-chatting with them or anything like that. Okay, unless they specifically want to. Okay, if you work with your ex, it's the same kind of thing. You need to sort of see your ex as like the person who you work with as like an acquaintance. Right, so think of the most sort of like acquaintancy person you can think of at your workplace who you have no really strong feelings for. You say hello to them, you're always polite to them, but you don't really like them, you don't really dislike them. They're just sort of in the middle, just very neutral person. That's how you have to treat your ex if you work with them. Okay, and you can't avoid them, and you still have to say good morning, you still have to say hello to them, maybe you still have to correspond with them in some way if it's related to your job. Again, keep it very business-like. Okay, that's the key here. For if you still have to see your partner because of kids or see your partner because of work, you have to treat it very business-like. Polite, cordial, but business-like. You don't want to be too overly enthusiastic around them and showing off. And you also don't want to be mopey and sad in the corner because that will show that you're affected by them. You're affected by their presence. Okay? And your ex is going to respond better to you, okay, if you are unaffected by their presence. Okay? So that's the first thing. So you got to leave them alone, you got to go into no contact. So another thing that can help change your ex's mind is if you are obviously leaving them alone, completely alone, you're doing no contact, and you're letting them come to you, right? Because if it was their idea to leave, it has to be their idea to come back. So it shouldn't be you going to them, it shouldn't be you going to them and trying to convince them to be with you again. It should be them coming to you. Okay, it's them reaching out to you on Facebook. It's them re-adding you and stuff, right? So how do you know then if your ex has broken no contact? Okay, because some people think, oh yeah, my ex added me again. They followed me again on Snapchat or Instagram, and they added me as a friend on Facebook. I can reach out to them, right? No. Okay, it has to be a direct message. Even if they follow you, even if they re-add you on stuff, right? Even if they unblock you, they have to be the one that reach out to you first. They have to be the one that's initiating the conversation. Not you sending them a message and they reply. No, it has to be them messaging you first. They have to initiate the conversation. Okay? So you got to let them come to you. Got to give them that space. Okay? Another thing that may help as well is letting them go, because basically accepting the breakup, essentially. Okay, so letting them go is important, because because if you let them go, if you truly let them go, and you've let them go within yourself, and you've realized, okay, there's a high chance here they're not going to come back, so I might as well start moving on with my life, trying to find someone new, getting on with my day, basically, working on my goals, working on my dreams, trying to make a fulfilling life for myself. I'm going to let them go. I'm going to just focus on these things for a while, and just, because they may not come back. So if they're not going to, if I don't know if they're coming back or not, I should probably assume that they're not, and just pretend that they're not, right? And just keep on going on with my life and not put my life on hold for them. And essentially, when a lot of people get to this point, when they've really let go, oddly enough, that's usually when an ex starts crawling back in their life, because it's almost like the ex can know energetically, right? It's kind of weird. They kind of know energetically when you've let go and that they've lost you. Okay, and then you're just gone. Okay, and there's nothing they can do to get you back. If they feel like that, and they feel like they're losing you, and you're no longer bothered by them, and you're no longer bothered by the breakup, you're no longer bothered that they're not in your life, that's usually when they start to come back. Very, very odd, but it's just one of those things, right? Okay, so moving on with your life is crucial. Okay, it's crucial in the letting go process, because and even being able to attract them back into your life, it's very important. Okay, but obviously, if you do let them go completely, right, and let's say you even find someone better than your ex, which is probably the ideal situation, because really, in my mind, an ex is an ex for a reason. It's not always a good idea to get back with an ex. Most of the time it isn't. Like, let's say 90% of the time, it's always best to just leave things be. Okay, usually when that happens, right, and you can really fully do that and really let go, essentially, in that way. Again, it's just one of those things that when you start doing that, it's kind of like when your ex starts coming back into your life, right? You can start to see them coming back into your life, but by then, because you've got this new amazing, you got a better life without them. Maybe you found someone else. You may not even want your ex back, okay? Because usually, like I said, exes are an ex for a reason. It's not usually a good idea to get back with an ex. But essentially, if you find someone better than your ex, then you're probably not even going to want to get back with them. Or perhaps you've created such a great life for yourself and you're really enjoying your time that you may not want your ex back anyway. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.ChristineLoveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Bye.